Welcome to day one of building an app in 7-day challenge. And today I'm going to go through the curriculum that we are going to go through our day one. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction and an overview about our Figma file design, what we're going to design in our bubble application. Later on, we're going to set up our database and style elements. After that, we're going to create our sign up and login page. And then we're going to set up the authentication and set up the onboarding for our students and team members. All right. So let's head over to Figma file. So as you can see, I'm just going to give you like a small, brief, concise overview about what we are going to build. So our app is basically going to be an event management application wherein we are going to create a landing page and a backend for a company called as UX Booth. So basically, they create and they make UI UX boot camps worldwide for all the aspiring UI UX designers. And over here, we are going to set three types of profile. The first one is going to be admin, the second one is going to be team member, and the third one is going to be students who are going to be enrolling to the boot camps. So if I scroll over here, this is the user journey that we are going to create in our bubble application. So the admin over here, who is the Max, all right. So he's going to log in, and once he logs in, he's going to be directed to the dashboard page, wherein he has access to different tabs. So he can access dashboard, he can access bootcamp, wherein he can create new boot camps, he can edit those boot camps or delete that boot camps. Then he has access to student tab, the registration tabs, wherein he can see all the bookings of the registrations, registered students. And then we have team members, wherein he can invite team members to the UX boot portal. All right. Moving on to team members, we have Matthew Blank over here. Similarly to um, our admin, he has access to only three tabs, which is going to be dashboard, boot camps, and students. So in boot camps, he can only edit the boot camps in which he has been added. So he's only able to view only boot camps that are assigned to him, all right, not the other boot camps. And lastly, we have students. So for students, again, there are going to be three navigation tabs, which is going to be home, wherein he or she can, view the enrolled or upcoming boot camps. And if they click on that boot camp, they will be directed to the boot camp detail page. Then they have access to booking tab, wherein again they can view their enrolled boot camps. They can join uh, by clicking on the link, or they can, if it's going to be an on-site boot camp, then they're going to get a registration code. All right, and then they have access to account tab, wherein they can edit their profile details. So I'm just going to show you the user interface that we're going to build. So as you can see, this is the sign up login page. This is going to be the onboarding page for our team members. That is Sasha over here, and then Matthew, who is a team member. Later on, we are going to create this whole dashboard for admin. Right, as you can see, he has access to different tabs over here. There are different views, and similarly for team members as well. As you can see over here, we are logged in as Matthew, and his view is going to be somewhat different than Max over here. And then we have student Sasha. Again, her view is going to be completely different as compared to the team members of UX Booth. As you can see, she has access to bookings, account profile, and then we have the edit page wherein the admin and the team members can edit their respective boot camps. They can select the tools, they can add the tools, they can add agenda to the particular boot camp, they can add the team members, they can add the inclusions, all right, to that particular boot camp. And then we have the landing page over here, as you can see. So this is going to be a public, you can say, or you can say the website, all right, wherein students or people who aren't enrolled or registered as students for UX Booth, they can view all the upcoming or the live boot camps, and they can enroll to that respective boot camp over here. So as you can see, they can look at the overview, they can look at the agenda over here, they can look at the team tools, what are the tools they're going to cover in that particular boot camp, who all are the dedicated team who will be working on this particular boot camp. All right, and then they can enroll. And later on, we're going to set up Stripe. We're going to integrate our bubble application with Stripe. All right, but that's for the later. Now let's start building this. So before we start, I wanted to head over to bubble. You can log in using your personal or your work email, whatever works. Once you log in, this is how your page is going to look. Click on create an app. Over here, we are going to create or name our app, which is going to be UX Booth. You can name it anything else, or you can name it as UX Booth. Click on Get Started. We are going to make use of this 14-day free trial that Bubble offer us, which is free, of course. And as I mentioned, we are going to build this app in 7 days. So you do have 7 extra days to explore other features as well. Just make sure you activate this free trial because we are going to make use of backend workflows that's only available in paid Bubble accounts. All right, it's not available in free feature in free the free version of Bubble. All right, so just make use of this. So make sure you activate the free trial. There we go. If it's giving you an error, make sure you have added your card details in the account of Bubble. Okay. Now, let's set up few basic things in our application. So click on next step. I'm good with the name. The app font is going to be Inter. Click on next step. We're gonna set up a color palette later as well, but let's do a small section of it as well. So in the Figma file, this is the primary color, which is 14837. I'm just going to copy this and paste this over here. Then we have the text over here. So for text is going to be 111 111. That is 6 times 1. Just copy this. I'm going to paste this over here. As of now, we are good with the surface and other things, but we are going to add few other colors as well. So just click on next step. No need of installing any plugins as of now. And just click on get started building. All right. Before we start building our application, we do need to set up our database and style elements. So for that, on the left panel, click on styles, click on style variables, and we're gonna add a few color variables over here. So let's add the first one, which is going to be our secondary text color. So I'm just going to copy this, paste this over here. This is going to be dark gray. I'm going to copy the color, which is A0, A0, A0 over here. There we go. Now we do have border color over here, which is going to be EB, 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 light gray, and this is going to be EB, EB, EB. What else do we have? We have table column header, which is going to be F9, FA, FB. Let's just call this table BG, light gray. And as I mentioned, this is going to be F9, FA, FB. And lastly, we have the this color is going to be for the column headers. All right, so which is F75, F67. Sorry, 475, 467. My bad. There's going to be table headers. I'm just going to go with dark gray, 9 being, and let's paste this. Again, I repeat, this is going to be 475, 467. I'm going to share the link to this Notion file and the asset file in the description so you can make use of that as well. Okay. Now that we are done setting up our color palette, now it's time to style few elements. So the first thing that we are going to set is going to be our button. So we are going to have three buttons. First one is going to be primary button, which is going to be used by only UX boot team. That is going to be only on the backend. All right. Then we have secondary button, which is all black, which is going to be used by students, primarily on student by students and on the landing page. And then we have ghost button. So let's start building this. So over here, we're just gonna search for button. Let's select primary button over here. We're gonna set the font size as 14. We're gonna set the roundness as 6. No need of shadow style. This looks good. No, let's remove the condition as well. Um, I think we are good to go. We are gonna delete outline button and flat button. All right, so let's go ahead and delete these two buttons, and we're gonna add a new button. So click on add style, and this is going to be secondary button. Right, let's click on create. A secondary button is just going to be all black over here. Simple, right? Again, we're gonna add the ghost button. Again, click on add style. Let's add this as ghost button. Element style is going to be button. Let's create that. Background color is going to be white. We're gonna add a solid border with color of our border color. And the font color over here is going to be black as well. There we go. We are done setting up style for our button. Now it's time for our input fields. So for standard input, I'm good with the font color. Font size is perfect. Placeholder color is fine as well. Roundness is going to be 6. Border color is going to be our border color. Make sure you select that. And in the layout, left and right padding is going to be 12. In the condition, let's just remove the first two conditions. I we do want this one. That is when input isn't valid, is going to highlight the border as red. Okay, so we do need this. And in appearance, let's also add a background style flat color, which is going to be pure white. Same thing for multi-line input. Let's add a background color of white. Border color is going to be our border color. Roundness is going to be 6. And the layout, left and right, only left and right is going to be 12. And condition, remove the first two condition. We do need the invalid thing. And we are good to go. Also now, this is fine. Now let's set up our database. So for that, just click on data on the left hand side. And before setting up data, I'm just going to show you how our data looks. So first we're going to create option sets. For those who are new to Bubble, option set is basically used when we have a static value, values that we're going to use, consistently. So for example, as you can see, we have user status over here, which is going to be active and inactive. And these two values are static. They're not going to change. They're not dynamic. So that's why we're going to use option sets. All right. The first option set is user role actually. So for that, we are going to add a new option set called as user role over here. Click on create. My bad. Click on option set over here. Click on skip tutorial, and over here in the new option set, we are just gonna type user role. Let's create that, and this is going to be the admin, first one. Then we have team member over here, and then we have student over here. So let's copy and paste this. The second option set is user status. Again, on the left hand side, we are going to create a new option set called as user status, which is going to be active and inactive. There we go. Let's create that. Let's create bootcamp status as well, which is going to be upcoming, live, and closed. So let's paste this as well. Let's see what else do we have. We have enrollment type over here, which is going to be part-time and full-time. And then we have location type, which is again going to be online and offline. There we go. Now we're gonna start building our data type over here. So for that, click on data types, and over here bubble automatically creates a data type called as user. So as you can see, these are inbuilt fields: email, modified date, created date, slug. So we are gonna make use of the email field over here. All right. So let's see. Let's first add all the data types over here. So we have user. Let's add bootcamp as well. Let's make it bootcamp instead of bootcamps. Then we have inclusions. Let's add that as well. We have agenda over here. Let's add agenda. We have tool. Next one is team, and we have bookings in the end. And lastly, we have booking, which is basically registrations. So one thing that you notice over here, we have set privacy rules, but we are going to get rid of it. So for that, you can just click on privacy rules over here, or else you can click on privacy tab and click on users, and you can just delete this privacy rule that Bubble has already set for you guys. So we are done with this. Now let's start adding the fields. So let's start with user. The first one is going to be name. So let's create a new field called as name, and this is going to be a text field. Then we have avatar, which is going to be an image field over here. Let's create that. We have designation, which is going to be text field again. We have user role. As you can see over here, I have mentioned OS, which is going to be an option set. So I have tried everything to like simplify things for you when you access this Notion doc. All right. So from the field type drop down, you're gonna select user role, which is the option set. Next we have user status. Again, it's going to be an option set. Then we have temporary password, which is going to be a yes and a no field. Then we have onboarding, which is again going to be a yes and a no field. And by default, the onboarding is going to be no. All right, there we go. And we have enrolled bootcamp. This is going to be a list of bootcamps. All right. So let's create this. And from here, I'm going to select bootcamp. And wherever it's mentioned list, we're going to check this box. So what it means that a student that is going to be a user can be enrolled to multiple boot camps, right? So this is going to be a list of boot camps, list of enrolled boot camps. So whenever we have multiple entries, we're gonna check this box. All right, there we go. We are done setting up our data type for user. And now it's time to set up data type for boot camps. So click on bootcamp, make sure the type name is bootcamp over here. Let's create a new field, which is a bootcamp name. This is going to be a text field. Let's create that. We have tagline. Let's add a tagline. Again, this is going to be a text field. We have price, which is going to be a number field actually. Enrollment type, option set. So from option set, select enrollment type. Then we have duration, which is going to be text field again. Then we have location, which is again going to be a text field. Then we have start and end date. These two fields are going to be date fields. Make sure you select date, not the date range and the interval. We don't need date, only date fields. All right. Then we have end date, which is going to be similar to start date. Location type, which is an option set. URL, we're going to need the URL of the bootcamp. Again, this is going to be a text field. Status, which is OS, which is basically bootcamp status. If you see, we have the feature image, which is going to be an image field. Inclusions, which is going to be list of inclusion, if you notice. So from here, we're going to select data type inclusion and we're going to check this box. We have overview, agenda. It's going to be list of agenda, tools, and then teams. Again, there's going to be tools. Check this box, list of tools. And then we have teams, which is data type team, list of teams. Next is going to be inclusion data type. So click on inclusion. Let's create a new field. Again, this is going to be a text field. And the last one is bootcamp. The reason we are using bootcamp over here, from your data type, select bootcamp and just hit on create. The reason we are creating this is basically we are creating a relationship between two data types. So if you can see, we're going to enter what are the inclusions for this particular bootcamp, right? We're going to add one list, two lists, third list, or you can say that particular inclusion, right? And then we're going to connect that inclusion with that respective bootcamp. All right. Similarly, for the agenda, we're going to do the same thing. Click on agenda, create a new field. This is going to be a text field. Then we have tool, which is just going to be a tool field. Select the tool. There we go. And then bootcamp field. From data type, select bootcamp. Time for tool data type. The first one is tool name. So let's create a new field. Again, text field. Then we have the tool image, which is again going to be an image field over here. And then lastly, we have the bootcamp field. We have team members over here. Click on teams, click on create new field. This is going to be user. And lastly, bootcamp. So let's add bootcamp. There we go. Now it's time to set up our booking database. So pull up booking, click on create new field, and this is going to be booking ID. From here, we are going to select text. We do need user. So we're going to create a new field. Again, this is going to be data type user. Bootcamp, to know this booking is for which bootcamp. Price. This is going to be a number field. Start and end date. Again, date field. This is also going to be a date field. What else? Enrollment type. From option set, select enrollment type. Duration. Location. This is going to be text. We have location type over here, which is an option set. And we have the URL, which is going to be the text field. So we are done setting up our database. Now it's time to design our login and sign up page. So for that, we're going to make use of index page. All right. Unfortunately, we can't change the name, but we can change the name over here. So let's call this as sign up. As I told you, you can't change the name. So the page title is going to be UX booth separator and then sign up. Now this is important because based on this, this page title is going to reflect on the web tab. All right. Click on layout. Container layout is going to be column because we are going to be stacking elements. Column is for stacking elements. Row is for stacking elements. How do I put it? It's like stacking elements horizontally in simple terms. Width is going to be 1440. Height is going to be 900 for time being. All right. So let's see in our Figma file. So this is the sign up page. We have a header over here with a height of 80. All right. And then we have a logo. And then there's a group over here. So let's drop a floating group. Let's call this as header. Container layout is going to be column. Uncheck fixed width. Min width is going to be 0. Min height is going to be 80. All right. Looks good. Now we're going to drop another group inside of floating header. So let's call this as group inner. In the layout, container layout is going to be column. Min width is going to be 0. Min height is going to be 0 as well. And uncheck fit height to content. Max width over here is going to be 1200. After doing that, just make sure that the horizontal alignment of group inner is centered because we want group inner to be centered. Scroll down and let's add a left and right padding of 32 only on the left and right. All right. So for those who don't know, padding is basically adding space inside the group and margin is adding space outside the group. So as you can see, if I add a top margin of 30, I want you to notice the behavior of group inner on the top especially. There I go. So you can see there is a space outside group inner. So that's the difference between margin and padding for those who are new to Bubble or new to, developing apps and websites. Margin and padding, just keep that in mind. Now we're gonna drop a image field inside group inner. Let's call this as group logo and let's upload logo dot from the asset file. In the layout, width is going to be 32 and check this box that is keep element aspect ratio fixed. And let's center this. There we go. We're done setting up our header. Now let's drop a group over here. Let's call this as group sign up. And the min height is going to be, let's go with 480. All right. Let's center this and let's add a height of 750. And let's make this element as fixed width. All right, there we go. Looks good. We're gonna add a top margin of 80. Actually, let's make it 100 because if we don't add a top margin, our group sign up is going to be hidden under our group floating group header. All right, so we don't want that. So that's why we added a spacing on the top of group sign up. There we go. Now let's start building up. So what do we have over here? So let's see. We have two text field over here. So let's drop a text field over here. This is going to be sign up. Style is going to be heading 4. In the layout, min width is going to be 0. Min height is going to be 0 as well. For group sign up, let's add a row gap of 24. All right, as of now. Then we had one more text field over here, which was basically a subtext. I'm just going to copy this. You can use lorem ipsum or else you can use this one. And the color is going to be our secondary font color. Click on layout, min width 0, min height 0. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And this is going to be name. Let me just check what's the style. Semi bold and 12. All right. Let's change font size to 12 and let's make this semi bold. It looks good. Now let's drop a input field over here. I'm gonna call this as name, and it's going to be John Doe. This is just a placeholder, all right, because we want to create a really good user experience for our end users so that they know, okay, this is where I enter my name. All right, so we are going to group these two elements together. Right click, group elements into a column container. Click on layout. Let's add a row gap of 6. Perfect. I'm just going to copy and paste this over here. This is going to be email. I'm going to select this. Let's change this to email. Change placeholder to John Doe at the rate example.com. I messed up example. And the content format over here is going to be email. Similarly, let's copy and paste this for password. So for password, I'm just going to change the name. Now, setting names is really important for elements and for group. So make sure you name your elements that we are going to use consistently or you feel, but it's not feel, just name it. Okay, that's what I follow, and I want you to follow that as well. So for this, if you are a Mac owner, so you can use Option and 8. You can just click simultaneously. If you are a Window user, just click on Window button and click on 8 simultaneously, and then you're gonna get this icon kind of stuff over here. So for this, content format is going to be password. There we go. Looks good. Now let's see the Figma file. We have a button and a link element over here. All right. So let's drop a button. Let's call this as sign up. And this is going to be secondary button because it's all black. And check fixed width. Min width is going to be 0. Min height is going to be 40. We are following bootstrap method. So the button height can be somewhere between 40 to 50. I stick with 40. I don't like huge chunky buttons. It's just me. Over here, this is going to be already have an account. Link element. Make sure you use link element because this is really good for SEO purpose. All right. I'm gonna center this. Change the font color to our black. Click on layout and check fixed width. Min width is going to be 0. Min height is going to be 0 as well. Now, let's see. So what I have done over here, I have grouped these elements into different groups. And the reason behind doing this is creating a really good visual hierarchy. Okay. So as you can see, this group has a row gap of 6. This input, you can say, has a row gap of 12. And then these two group again have a row gap of 12. So it's 6, 12, 12. So let's set this, select these two. You can click on shift and select these two elements. Right click, group elements into a column container, and let's add a row gap of 6. Now let's group these together into a column container with a row gap of 12. And finally these two elements with a row gap of 12. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Now we're gonna make min height as 0. And make sure you have checked this box, that is fit height to content. Is going by default is going to be checked, but just make sure it is. All right, there we go. And let's also select our page that is index, and let's change container alignment to be centered so that it's perfectly in the center. Now I'm going to select group, sign up, and I'm going to add a padding of 24 all around the edges. There we go. Now, now we're done setting up our sign up page. Now it's time to design login page. So for that, I'm going to click on this link element, click on appearance, and over here, so basically link element, it has two features. We can link that particular element to an internal page or to an external URL as well. But as of now, we're going to link it to an internal page. We haven't created that page yet. So we're going to click on create a new page, and let's call this as login. And we're going to clone this with our index page because the UI is similar. All right. So over here again, I'm going to select destination page as login. There we go. Now let's head to our login page. Let's make few tweaks. So this is going to be login. Let's also change the page title from sign up. It's going to be login. Now for logging in, we do not need a name. So let's get rid of name. We just need email and password. Button over here is going to be login. And this, we're going to change this to don't have an account, sign up. And the destination is going to be index. All right. So we are going to set the workflow for these two pages over here. So when user clicks on sign up, you're going to add a workflow, and in account, we're going to sign the user up. So this over here is going to be input email value. Password is going to be input passwords value. We are also capturing the name. All right. So for that, we are going to click on change another field, and over here, name is going to be input names value. After doing this, we are going to reset the input and navigate the user to an onboarding page. So click on navigate, click on go to page, and over here we haven't created the onboarding page yet. So for that, click on create a new page. Let's call this as onboarding. Let's create this. Again, from here we're going to select onboarding as our destination, and the data we're going to be sending is going to be current user. Now we have an issue over here, that is this one, and the reason is giving us this issue is we haven't set the type of content on onboarding page. So just click on this button, and it's going to automatically set the type of content for that page as user. All right. So whenever user signs up, he's going to be directed to onboarding page. Similarly, let's do this for login page, but for login is going to be little different. All right. So click on login, click on add workflow. Again, same thing, click on account, log the user in. We need email, input emails value, input passwords value. Then we are going to reset input. Now, when our student, admin, or team member login, right? There are different pages. So our team members and our admin are going to be navigated to dashboard page, and our students are going to be navigated to home page. So these two are different. All right. Also, one more thing. We the admin. Okay, is admin is also going to invite the team members to this application. So we are gonna send him a temporary password, so they're going to use that temporary password, and when they try to log in, they are going to be directed to onboarding page. All right. So first, let's create those two, dashboard and home page, and then we'll work on the onboarding flow. So for that, click on navigation, go to page. We haven't created the page, so click on create a new page. Let's call this as dashboard. Let's create this. From here, just select dashboard as of now. And the data we're going to be sent is going to be current user. Click on this so that we get rid of the issue. Now we're going to set a condition. Okay. So this workflow or this step is only going to work when current users user role is admin, or current users user role is team member. So when they're admin or team member, they're going to be directed to dashboard page. I'm just going to copy this and paste this over here. And this one is going to be for the students. So for students, we're going to create a new page. Let's call this as home. I'm just going to replicate it with dashboard. From here, we are going to select home, and we're going to change the condition over here. So let's just get rid of everything. Make sure it's blank. Okay. Now over here, now this step is only going to work when current users user role is student. That's it. Okay. Now we're gonna set the onboarding thing. We're gonna navigate the user to onboarding. Data to be sent is going to be current user. And the condition over here is going to be when current users temporary password is yes, then only he's going to be directed to the onboarding page. All right, let me check dashboard, page home, page onboarding. Now click on index, and over here in our workflow that we have set for button, in the step one, we're going to change one more field, which is going to be the user role. And the user role is going to be student. Student are the only people who are going to be using sign up. Okay, because team members and admin will be using login. That's it. There we go. Okay, now it's time to design our onboarding page, which is somewhat similar to, you can say, the login page. So let's go to onboarding. This is going to be onboarding. Click on layout. Container layout is going to be column. Width is going to be 1440. Height is going to be 900. Let's stick to 800 actually. All right. I'm just going to copy this group sign up. Click on edit. Click on copy. Head over to onboarding. Make sure you click on onboarding page, click on edit, and click on paste. On the onboarding, change the container alignment to be centered. And we are good with, actually, let's make top margin as 80. All right. And let's also get rid of the padding. All right. So let's see the Figma files. We have a text over here, which is going to be onboarding. Let me see the style, which is semi bold and 10. So I'm just going to drop a text over here, which is going to be onboarding. Font size is going to be 10. This is going to be semi bold. And we are going to change the font color to our table header. Click on layout. Min width is going to be 0. Min height is going to be 0. Let's make this first. Let's change this to add personal details. This one is going to be update your personal details. All right. I'm just going to copy and paste this. This is going to be the avatar. All right. So let's change this to avatar, and let's drop a picture uploader inside of this group. Let's call this avatar student. Change font color, font size to 12. Roundness is going to be 100, and color is going to be border color is going to be our border color. Click on layout. Width is going to be 60. Height is going to be 60 as well. Looks good. Now let's get rid of this input field as well. Let's bring this up over here. Let's change the name to student. All right, and the initial content over here is going to be current user's name. Now, I don't want my team members and students to change their name. So for that, I'm going to click on input is disabled. Same goes with email. Student initial content is going to be current user's email. This input is disabled. Over here, this is going to be designation, and we have about section. So let's change this to designation. This is going to be designation student, and I'm just gonna put a placeholder over here, and the content format is going to be text. Now we aren't saving this data when the students sign up, right? So we can't set the initial content, so I'm just going to leave this as blank, and I'm just going to copy this group. Make sure you copy this group A, and paste this again. Of course, your grouping name might be different, and this is going to be about. Now over here, I'm going to drop a multi-line field. So let's call this about student. Placeholder is going to be tell us more about yourself. Click on layout and check fixed width. Min width is going to be 0. Let's get rid of this single line field. Looks good. All right. I'm just going to select, or you can say copy this button. Click on group. Actually, let's change this to group onboarding student. All right. So I'm just gonna paste this in group onboarding student, and I'm gonna get rid of this whole group. Let's call this as save and next. All right. Let me just check if we have used everything. Save and next. Looks good. So if you can see, we have created a container for this whole group that is going to be the input detail thing. All right. So for that, and there is a padding of 24 all around the edges. So let's select this group, and let's select this one as well. Right click, group elements into a column container. Click on layout. Let's add a row gap of 24, and let's call this group student details. Get rid of min height as well. Let's get rid of min height for this one as well. I don't know, I think there is a bug in my bubble app. Anyway, we're gonna add a padding of 24 all around the edges. Click on appearance. Let's add a roundness of 10 on the border, and let's set a solid border with our border color. There we go. They are not able to change the name, email. All right. So we're gonna set up a workflow for onboarding. So over here, we're gonna make changes to a thing which is going to be current user. Let's just add all fields. So we do need avatar. So which is going to be picture upload avatar students value. We do need designation. So it is input designations value. No need of enroll bootcamp. No need of name. Onboarding is going to be yes, because once he clicks on save and next, we're gonna change the onboarding status from no to yes. No need of temporary password. User role, we're already going to set that thing up. User status is going to be active. So let's just get rid of this. All right. After this, we are going to reset the input and we are going to navigate the user to home. Data to be sent is going to be current user. And this is only going to work. We're going to set a condition again. Actually, there is no need to set a condition on this. We are good to go with this. All right. Now we're going to similarly do the same step for our team members. All right. Except the input fields are going to be a little different. And it also reminded me we do have an about field as well. So over here, click on add another field. Click over here. Let's create a new field and let's call this about. This is going to be a text field. And this is going to be multi-line input about students value. All right. Now let's select group onboarding student. Click on edit. Click on copy special. Copy with workflows. Okay. Make sure you are still your bubble inspector is still on the group onboarding student. Click on layout, and we are going to uncheck this box because I don't want this to be visible on page load, and check this box because I want this to be collapsed when it's hidden. There we go. Now from the left hand side, just click on this. So it basically hides it. Now click on onboarding page, click on edit, click on paste special paste with workflow. Now let's change this to group onboarding TM. TM stands for team member. Now over here, let's change this as well. It's going to be TM. I'm just going to copy this. No need of naming this, but just for the sake of it. Let's see what do we have for, so we do have designation. We just need a new password. All right, so I'm just going to change this to password. I'm going to copy and paste this in this group. This is going to be password. Again, do the same thing. And content format is going to be password. Looks good. Now let's edit a workflow over here. Thing to be changed is going to be current user. That's fine. Avatar is going to be picture uploader. TM's value. Designation TM's value. Onboarding is yes. User status is going to be yes as well. And the temporary password is going to be no. After this, we are going to add, let's just get rid of these two steps as of now. So step 2 is going to be update the user credentials. So over here, we do need an old password as well. So just head back to design and let's copy and paste this again. Let's make this as old password. All right. This is going to be input old password TM, and this is going to be input new password. So let's change this as new password as well. All right. Okay, so let's head back to workflow again. So over here, the old password is going to be input old password TM's value. We're going to change the password. So check this box, and the new password again is going to be input new password TM's value. After this, we are going to navigate our user to dashboard page. Data to be sent is going to be current user. One more small change over here, as I mentioned, for our students, the button color is going to be black. For team members and for people who belong to UX booth, for them, The button style is going to be primary. Okay. Now it's time to test few things out. Before that, let me just, yeah. Before that, we do need to set few things. So I'm just gonna, okay. So let's first start with students. Okay. So let's, before we do that, for group onboarding TM, again, uncheck this box, uncheck this box. We don't want this visible on page load. We want to collapse when it's hidden. Okay, so let's hide this. Let's pull up our group onboarding student. Now, I want this to be visible. So we're going to set a condition on this group. So I want this to be visible only when current users user role is student. Then only this element is visible. All right. Let's hide this and let's unhide our group onboarding TM. Similarly, when current users user role is team member, then only this element is visible. All right. So let's see from sign up. User signs up. We are signing him up, resetting the value, setting the user role as student. Then he gets directed to onboarding page. All right. Now let's check for the login as well. User logs in, relevant input, go to page dashboard. We're gonna set a condition only when user role is admin or team member. Go to page home only when current user role is student. Go to onboarding when is yes, correct. Let's also add one more. Click on more and current users user role is team member. Okay, just to make it more secure. All right, so now let's make few tweaks over here in the dashboard. I'm just going to change the column, change the width to 1440, 800. Let's change the container alignment to be centered. I'm just going to drop a text over here. Let's call this as dashboard, which is going to be visible for admin and team members. I'm going to change this to heading 2. Let's center this. I'm just going to copy this, head back to home, do the same thing. Column width is going to be 1440, 800, center this. Let's also change the name. It's going to be home. And I'm just going to paste this. Students. For dashboard, let's do the same thing. I forgot to change the page title. Dashboard. For onboarding, it's already set. Okay. Now let's test this out. So I'm just gonna log in as a test user just to show you. So we're gonna log in as student. Okay, so we're gonna sign up. Click on preview. Let's get rid of this debugger over here. Okay, looks good. So I'm just gonna go with John Doe. All right, John Doe @example.com. Let's set a password. And I'm gonna click on, okay, before we do this, let's check if this works. If I click on this, I'm gonna be directed to login page. Yep, it works. All right, now let's test this out again. Example.com. Let's again enter a password. Let's sign up. So we are gonna be directed to onboarding as a student. Okay, onboarding. Never. So I'm not able to change anything over here. And let's just go with UX UX designer. I love designing apps and websites. I'm able to upload photo as well. I'm just going to upload a dummy photo just to show you guys. Yeah, working. I can change this as well to something else. There we go. Looks good. If I click on save and next, I should be directed to home. There we go. We are able to see home. I also noticed the loading progress bar over here. So we're just gonna make the change. Click on settings, click on general, scroll down, and over here you can see under general appearance we have progress bar color. Let's change this to a primary color. All right. Now let's check our data. Click on our app data. So we do have John Doe. He has yes temporary password as well. I'm just going to open this up. He is logged in as student. User status is active. Onboarding is yes. Perfect. Looks good. So we are done with our day one. So tomorrow we are going to design and set up admin dashboard. Now this is going to be really a long lesson because we are going to set this whole thing up. But trust me, stick with me and I'm going to simplify this whole process for you. Okay. And within 7 days, it's my challenge. Within 7 days, we are going to build, design, and deploy an app with proper user testing, which is going to be responsive as well. So I'll see you tomorrow.